The Osun State House of Assembly on Monday officially passed the 2025 appropriation bill of the state, amounting to 427 billion 746 million 925,000 and 170 naira into law. The bill was passed into law at the plenary presided over by the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Honorable Adewale Gbedu. This followed the presentation of a report by the House Committee on Finance and Appropriation, led by its chairman, Honorable Olumide Fatumishe. Addressing the plenary, Speaker of the State Assembly, Honorable Gbedu commended committee members and colleagues for their diligence in ensuring a thorough review and timely passage of the bill. He emphasized that the budget prioritizes key sectors such as education, healthcare, infrastructure, tourism, and security, aiming to achieve meaningful outcomes that will enhance the lives of citizens. The federal government has declared Wednesday 25th, Thursday 26th of December 2024, and Wednesday 1st January 2025 as public holidays to celebrate Christmas, Boxing Day, and New Year, respectively. The Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, made the declaration on behalf of the federal government. The minister, in a statement signed by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. Magdalene Ajani, extended warm greetings to all Nigerians, urging them to use the festive period to reflect on the values of love, peace, and unity that the season signifies. Dr. Tunji-Ojo emphasized the importance of the season as a time to foster harmony and strengthen bonds across families and communities. The minister also called on Nigerians to remain committed to the peace, unity, and progress of the nation for national development. The Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria has urged Nigerians to expect a reduction in the pump price of the product within the week. It will be recalled that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and the Dangote Refinery reduced the ex-depot price of petrol to 899 naira per litre. The association president, Billy Gili Harry, spoke on when the price change will take effect while appearing on a television program. He expressed the belief that from today, when members start loading from both NNPC and Dangote at the newly reduced price, it will reflect in the market. According to him, the inability of members to sell in line with the new ex-depot price is due to some of them having old stocks that were bought at higher prices. The petroleum boss commended Dangote Refinery and NNPCL for the reduction in the price of the commodity. Meanwhile, the federal government said it has disbursed a total sum of 16.1 billion naira to 22 manufacturing concerns from the 75 billion naira set aside by the government to stimulate real sector growth. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edo, disclosed this during the citizens and stakeholders' engagement on the implementation of presidential priorities and ministerial deliverables for the fourth quarter of 2024 in Abuja. Mr. Edo stated that 3.5 billion naira was disbursed to 11,000 beneficiaries in 5 days from the Consumer Credit Scheme, which is targeting over 80 million Nigerians, highlighting that Nigeria needs to invest at least $20 billion per annum to achieve its economic targets and record a growth rate of about 6.3% by 2027. He noted that 25 million people have so far been reached under the direct benefits transfer in driving economic growth and facilitating infrastructural development. The minister urged the National Assembly to iron out the contending issues in the bill rather than dumping it in its entirety. Former Chief Whip and Senator representing Borno South Senatorial District, Ali Ndume, has declared that the North is an asset and not a liability to Nigeria, insisting on a strong opposition to the controversial tax reforms bill. In the statement issued over the weekend, Ndume criticized the timing and scope of the bills, arguing that they disproportionately target low and middle-income Nigerians who are already bearing the brunt of the current administration's economic policies. Ndume called for the withdrawal of the tax reform bills, emphasizing the need for broader consultation and greater stakeholder involvement, stressing the need to prioritize governance reforms over tax reforms, while advising the Federal Inland Revenue Service to focus on expanding the tax net and improving accountability and transparency. We urge the Central Bank of Nigeria to scrutinize commercial banks, arguing that their substantial yearly profits warrant higher tax contributions. In the meantime, Senator Victor Ume has said that there is nothing to fear regarding the tax reform bills currently before the National Assembly for consideration and passage. President Bola Tinubu transmitted 4 tax reform bills to the National Assembly for consideration in October, which has provoked a public outcry, sparking widespread debate across Nigeria. Ume, who spoke to reporters in Abuja, noted that the tax reform is aimed at strengthening Nigeria's fiscal institutions and ensure the actualization of the administration's comprehensive development plans for the country. He maintains that many issues have gone wrong in the country, resulting in citizens' loss of confidence in governance, noting that people are unwilling to pay the taxes charged by the government, believing that the taxes will not be judiciously utilized for their intended purposes. Ume, who is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Diaspora Matters and Non-Governmental Organizations, further observed that reforms are necessary steps and actions that the government must take to bring out the changes that would guarantee the growth of the country's economy and improve life for the people. The Central Bank of Nigeria and the Nigerian Communications Commission have directed deposit money banks and mobile network operators to settle the long-standing 250 billion naira debt dispute. The directive, titled Second Joint Circular of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Nigerian Communications Commission on the resolution of the debt issue between deposit money banks and mobile network operators, was obtained by Newsmen today. This move coincides with the earlier report, which revealed that telecom operators had called for a structured payment plan from regulators to address the mounting debt that has caused significant concern in both sectors. The circular, signed by the acting director of the Payment System Management Department at the CBN, Oladimeji Taiwo, and the head of Legal and Regulatory Services at the NCC, Chizwa White, outlined specific measures for debt settlement. The regulators expressed deep concern over the protracted dispute between DMBS and MNOS regarding the use of MNOS USSD platforms for banking services. Major report continues in a moment. Stay tuned. Universal Basic Education Commission has reaffirmed its commitment to establishing digital libraries in basic education schools across the country, in addition to offering cost-effective ways of bringing educational resources to learners and teachers. The reaffirmation was made by the National Coordinator of the UBEC Digital Resource Center, Professor Bashir Galandashi, which, while declaring open a 3-day training workshop on digital library and education resource management at the UBEC Digital Resource Center, Abuja. Professor Galandashi, who represented the UBEC Executive Secretary, noted that digital libraries had brought about diverse, multiple, and exciting media formats, including videos, games, and interactive simulations. Also speaking, the head of capacity building at the UBEC DRC, Dr. Afsat Kutangora, explained that the training was designed to enhance the understanding of the role of digital libraries and educational resources in smart organizing, categorizing, and managing digital content. The brewing constitutional crisis in Edo State took a dramatic turn today as Governors Monday Okpebolo and the Edo State House of Assembly insisted on the suspension of all 18 local government chairmen. Recall that Justice Efe Ikpowomba of the Edo High Court had issued a mandatory injunction declaring the suspension null and void and restraining the state government and other parties from meddling in local government operations until the substantive case is heard. It would be recalled that the administration of President Bola Tinubu had secured a landmark Supreme Court judgment affirming the financial and administrative independence of local councils, but the gains of local government autonomy suffered setback when the Edo State government masterminded suspension of local government chairmen. The action of the Edo State government came on the heel of the recent affirmation by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi that only local councillors, not governors or state assemblies, hold the constitutional authority to suspend or remove elected local government officials. Governor Amadu Fintiri of Adamawa State has announced the creation of second-class chiefdoms for Hoba, Madagali, Michika, and Fufure from the Adamawa Emirate. The governor, who made the announcement in a statewide broadcast to the people of the state, also named the headquarters of the chiefdom, adding that the creation of Mondik Street was equal to the enactment of Adamawa State Chiefs Law 2024. He also announced the creation of third-class status chiefdoms of Gombe, Neha, Yunguru chiefdom, with headquarters in Dome, was also given a third-class status. According to the governor, the legislation is expected to reposition the traditional institution and embolden it to play better roles in the affairs of the state. The federal government has facilitated the return of 403 Nigerian migrants who had been stranded in Niger Republic. The voluntary returnees arrived in Nigeria last Saturday with the humanitarian return jointly organized by the Nigerian Mission in Niamey and the International Organization for Migration. This marks the second batch of voluntary returns from the Niger Republic within the week following the arrival of 310 returnees last week. The reception exercise was conducted at the Nigerian Immigration Service Training School in Kano State and was coordinated by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons. Speaking on behalf of the Federal Commissioner of NCFRMI, Aliyu Ahmed, the Kano State Coordinator of the Commission, Mrs. Luba Lehman, emphasized the government's commitment to reintegrating the returnee into various government programs under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. She also commended the seamless collaboration among the participating agencies, which ensured the success of the operation. A philanthropic organization, Widows Mites, in collaboration with New Impact Ministry, have donated food items and cash gifts to widows in Imesile for the Christmas celebration. Lead pastor of New Impact Ministry, Leke Ojo, said the church has a duty to be a source of blessings to the poor, the orphan, and the widow. Oluchi Amoda reports.
Ijano Methodist Church in Mesile was the venue of the end-of-the-year outreach organized by a philanthropic organization, Widows Might, in collaboration with New Impact Ministry. The annual event, which is the eighth of its kind, provided an avenue for the team and the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria in Mesile branch to interact with the aged widows, sang, danced, and prayed in the spirit of Yuletide. Speaking on the motive behind the gesture, the lead pastor, New Impact Ministry, Pastor Leke Ojo, who stood in for the sponsor of the program, Pastor Comfort Foyeke Famuyibo, stated that the ministry focuses on community service to the poor, the orphan, and the widow. According to her, the kingdom message has gone beyond church attendance alone, as churches must go out of their comfort zones and start making impact.
For opportunities to be a blessing to the vulnerable part of the population, the widows, the orphans, the less privileged, low-income people. We actually believe that Jesus died and rose for the purpose of being a blessing to humanity. So we believe that our ministry work will not be complete if we are not a blessing to the vulnerable part of the population.
Speaking in the same vein, the resident pastor of New Impact Church, Osogbo, Pastor Israel Funsho, who was accompanied by his wife, Blessing, said religion will amount to nothing if the vulnerable members of society are ignored. He called on those in privileged positions to always remember the less privileged members in their communities and cultivate the habit of giving.
The beautiful thing about what we're doing now is that it's a message we're sending across to people who God has given capacity to in one way or the other. Because definitely when you look around now more than ever, we have people who are more or less privileged and they do not have ability to even feed themselves for an hour, let alone a whole day. So gestures like this helps in making sure that people at least have something called a relief package.
The event climaxed with the presentation of food items and cash gifts to the widows in the spirit of Christmas celebration. The gesture brought joy and laughter to the faces of the beneficiaries who showered prayers on the donors. Oluchi Amuda, OSBC News.
President Bola Tinubu has officially launched the 2024 May Christian pilgrimage to Israel and Jordan with the airlift of pilgrims flagged off at Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos State. This was disclosed in a statement by the Deputy Director and Head of Media and Public Relations, Celestine Turuka, and published on the Commission's official X handle. According to the statement, President Tinubu, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, urged pilgrims to view their journey as an opportunity to strengthen their faith in God. He noted that the theme of the 2024 exercise pilgrimage of renewed hope for total restoration aligns with the vision and agenda of his administration. The president also cautioned pilgrims against absconding while in the Holy Land, stressing that there is no better place than home, just as he encouraged them to pray for Nigeria. Parents have been admonished to give their children religious education combined with this Western education as part of measures to stem the tide of moral decadence pervading the society. The Olola of Ola, Oba Johnson Oyewale Ajiboye, gave the admonition at a Walimat Quran of Mudirasat, Morikas, Tijaniyat, held at Olude area of Oshogbo, Osun State capital. Oluchi Amuda has details.
It is the joy of every parent to witness the success of their children, especially when such breakthroughs are happening from young age. Little wonder then why the National Coordinator of New Era Islamic Propagation Center, Dr. Abdul Rauf Kolawole, hosted families, friends, and well-wishers who converged on Olude Town, Ojoja, Oshogbo for the Walimat Quran of his daughter Aisha Kolawole, who graduated alongside other students such as and Zainab Waliyulaki from the Islamic school. In their words of admonition with OSBC News, the royal father of the day and Olola of Ola, Oba Johnson Oyewale Ajiboye, and one of the special guests, Dr. Kayode Oguni, stated that it is important for parents to expose their children to religious education, which would help instill the fear of God in them. They maintain that when children are brought up in the right direction, the burden of moral decadence pervading society would drastically reduce.
Make education will teach the child, whether male or female, ability to dispose things in a way that encourages the fear of the Lord. Because without the fear of God, the world will continue to witness decadence. Western education will allow the child to know the right from left and to know what exactly he or she wants to do with his or her life.
While also speaking with OSBC News, the host and national coordinator of New Era Islamic Propagation Center, Dr. Abdul Rauf Kolawole, admonished the graduates to make adequate use of the knowledge they have garnered from the Islamic school to serve Allah and humanity. He equally charged them to continue to seek further knowledge that will guide their paths and illuminate their future.
The children, they should not stop with today's ceremony. They should make endeavor to continue their Islamic and moral education so that they can be beneficial and useful to Islam and humanity at large.
The Walimat Quran also featured fundraising for the propagation of Islam. Oluchi Amuda, OSBC News.
You're welcome to the sports segment. A two-time Grand Slam doubles champion Max Purcell has been voluntarily suspended for breaking anti-doping rules. The International Tennis Integrity Agency made the announcement, adding that the 26-year-old is prohibited from playing in, coaching at, or attending any tennis event authorized by any of the sport's governing bodies or national associations. The Australian, who is ranked 12th in the world for doubles, admitted to a breach of regulations relating to the use of a prohibited method and had requested to enter into a provisional suspension. Under this suspension, it means he will currently not be able to play in the Australian Open at Melbourne Park in January. Purcell won the 2022 Wimbledon doubles title alongside fellow Australian Matt Ebden and the United States Open crown this year, partnered by Jordan Thompson. Tennis Australia stressed that the breach related to a prohibited method rather than prohibited substance. While on the foreign scene, Cyclone Chido has claimed 94 lives in Mozambique since making landfalls last week. According to the country's National Institute of Risk and Disaster Management, the powerful storm injured 768 people and affected over 622,000, leaving a trail of destruction across northern provinces. Chido hit Mozambique with winds reaching 260 kilometers per hour and 250 millimeters of rainfall within the first of 24 hours, causing widespread damage to education and healthcare. Over 109,000 students were affected as schools sustained significant damage, while 52 healthcare units were left inoperable, cutting off access to essential medical services in areas already underserved. In first struck Cabo Delgado province before moving inland to Niassa and Nampula regions, frequently battered by cyclones. Cyclone Chido had already devastated Mayotte and French Indian Ocean territory before moving on to Mozambique, Malawi, and Zimbabwe, as Mozambique continues to face a compounding crisis driven by climate change. And that ends the major report on OSBC TV. It was edited by Kayode Adebayo. I am Olubumi Ajiboye Agbola, wishing you a pleasant evening. Good night.